we're back. Welcome back to the Nick Hall Comedy Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Hall, joined as always by
Josh Griffey.
Hey, big week. We got the Donnie Baker video out, the first one of two.
Batter's box etiquette.
It's
funny, but I don't know how many of our audience cross over with Donnie's, but if you guys don't follow Donnie on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere where Donnie puts out content, you're making a mistake, man.
Yeah.
He's honestly just lightning fast, fucking hilarious, and even above that, he's just a really nice guy.
He really is. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I met him years ago. He was doing a show in Ferdinand, Indiana. And this guy that I used to open for, he was a headliner, and I used to open for him all the time, and he knew Donnie. Mm. And he called me one day, and he was like, "Hey, can you emergency go open for Donnie Baker?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Like, where? Yeah. And I was like, "Where?" And he's like, "Ferdinand, Indiana." And I was like, "Where in the fuck is that?" And it's all the way down. It's 2.5 hours from Indianapolis where I live. And so I drove down there. I got there right before the show started, so I walked in and walked on stage. Still hadn't met
Here
Donnie.
he is, straight from his car.
Yeah, and so I just kind of had to make, I did my set or whatever, and I had to make up this, coming to the stage, and because usually they tell you what to say. They're like, you mentioned this, so I was just like, I fucking love this guy, and I've never, and I was just fangirl. I was like, I've never met him, and I just brought him up or whatever, and he killed it. And then he invited me to go on the road with him. And we drove to a show. We did a show in Iowa, and that was the first one. And that it was a 5-hour drive, and I got to ride in the car with this dude for 5 hours. And by the time I got there, I just wanted to throw up. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah,
it was the best 5 hours of my life. It was hilarious.
His lightning speed.
It's unreal.
I mean, he's so tuned in with his comedy. It's just fucking.
I'm not
reflex.
Robin Williams is one of a kind, but he's as close to as quick as Robin Williams.
Yeah.
As far as he can reel off. I mean, obviously, nobody's Robin Williams.
No one is Robin
Williams. Not making that comparison. Yeah. Just but the similarity of how fast his mind works.
His mind processes through a situation and can immediately dissect the funny.
It's incredible. Yep.
But it's one of those too. They always say don't meet people that you admire, right? I've had some experience. I met a couple when I first got to LA. That's you start meeting all these people, you're fucking starstruck.
Oh yeah.
This is the guy I've watched for years. We have a personal bond. He'll care.
Yeah.
And then, I remember I was at that club once, and I saw Too Short. And I was like, fucking Too Short.
Hell yes.
Blow the Whistle was my jam. I had a whole fucking dance I did to it. And I was like, I'm going to go over and blow this dude's mind about how much I like Blow the Whistle. And I walked over, and I bought him a shot, right?
Yeah.
And so I walked over with the shot. I'm like, I'm not coming in empty-handed like some punk-ass bitch to Too Short.
Yeah.
And I walked over, and I can't remember the exact phrasing, but I was like, "Hey, what's up, Too Short? I love your songs, man. I wanted to buy you a drink." And he looked up and gave me the quick up and down just to make sure I didn't have tits, presumably.
Yeah.
Which, I do now. If only I was a couple years later. But I believe his exact phrase was, "Fuck you, white bitch." I'm not 100% sure. It could have been white boy. It was a very loud club, but there was definitely a, "Why are you talking to me?" And honestly, I was like, I'm not a huge fan of this interaction, but I get it. You're in a club. You're here to do business.
At least you didn't turn into Blowjob Betty.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
that
famous.
Was I don't want a shot.
Well, yeah,
taking
well,
the
that's
shot.
the thing about Donnie, because he's been on Bob and Tom for 15 or 20, 15, 20 years, forever. I've listened to that dude forever, and I probably had that fear going in. Is oh man, what if he's an asshole or something?
Oh yeah.
Because I've loved this dude forever, but he wasn't. He was one of the nicest guys I've ever met. So I lucked out for sure.
That's a big thing here in the Midwest. Bob and Tom guys.
Yeah, they're national. They're national syndicate.
Yeah, they're everywhere. But I know out in LA they have Kevin and Bean, and they have their big guys that take up huge swaths of the map.
It's a big comedy radio show. They've been around for 40 years.
Kevin and Bean was. Or Bob and Tom are the tops, but be careful meeting your people you admire.
Yeah. It's sometimes a
it can
slippery
get dicey,
slope.
but not with Donnie.
Yeah, follow Donnie, man. He's fucking. If you don't already, you probably do. He's got a huge following.
Yeah, he kills it on Facebook.
But if you don't, find Donnie Baker. He's hilarious. It's worth the follow
for sure.
And also, follow us.
Apple Podcast app, Nick Hall Comedy, audio version, Spotify too, but especially on Apple. Leave a rating and review, guys. we've seen you guys start to do it, and it's good, man. The moment we can start hitting these charts, we're just going to blow this bitch up.
Yeah.
And then we're going to drop our true conspiracy knowledge. That's my plan.
True one.
This is a sleeper pod, right? A Manchurian pod to get me close to power, so then I can start breaking down the walls.
And also, if you're going to follow Coach Kent, all of the social media is at Coach Kent Murphy.
Yeah.
None of these, we've been getting a lot of questions. You know, which one's you on the, Instagram, Snapchat, like all that. It's always at Coach Kent Murphy.
Yeah.
Anything else is fake. It's not us.
And they'll do real tricky stuff like putting real at the start of their tile. They're all fucking fakes, man.
Yeah.
And they're just frauds. Some of them are trying to sell merchandise to you guys, which really drives us nuts.
Yeah, we got lawyers and
Coach
shit.
Kent Murphy, all social medias.
Yeah, and you know what? We're following back. We're talking to.
That's right.
I spent like 4 hours on Snapchat yesterday.
Dude, but yeah, you guys are fucking savages
It
on
was
Instagram.
hilarious.
But the stuff that you guys send us is...
It's great. Yeah, so we're making an effort to get way more active on that stuff, so you guys stop fucking around with the fake accounts.
Especially
we
for those of
appreciate
you
it.
who've been joining us on the live streams, man. That's been wild.
Live streams is shit.
We have a pay-per-view we're developing, right? The Reds Grapple Apple.
Reds Apple Grapple.
Apple Grapple, yeah. We've got, Nugget, LeBron's hairline.
This Saturday.
We've got at least 6 of our, now we would call them chat characters.
Nugget and Ben Burley just went at it last night. It was a lot of fun.
They were talking about who could bench press each other's moms and dads. It was brutal.
I felt like Dana White for a while. I was like, we got to set this up.
Well, honestly, we were just sitting there like watching the game and reading this chat, and I was like, Dana White's life must just be garbage.
Yeah.
Right?
I doubt it. He's probably doing okay.
Well, you see, they follow him around when they'll do like the pre-shows, and he'll be at like a fancy dinner, and they'll just be like, Dana, one of your guys choked out his girlfriend. He's like, fuck.
God
and he just gets up and like walks around with his head hung. And
He's
I'm like,
constantly in damage control.
Yeah, constantly.
Constantly.
John Bones Jones found more illicit substances. God damn it.
They just say John Bones Jones, and they don't have to say, he's like, he fucked up again. God damn it.
They just have a code word. The boner has landed. The boner has landed.
I feel like it's like that scene in Liar Liar whenever John Bones Jones, he just gets on the phone and goes, stop breaking the law, asshole. And just hangs up. Oh, we got
He's
a lot.
the Chucky of MMA at this point.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Except for he's doing like felonies and shit.
Yeah, he's doing like actual hard crimes.
That's like petty misdemeanors. All right. We got a lot to get to. News stories.
News.
So my favorite one this week, Richard Sherman. We haven't talked about
By the way,
nobody's talked about Richard Sherman in a while.
This is the closest we've come. This is the week that's testing our the lines are blurring between sports and the real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, Richard Sherman, in a desperate attempt to wrestle back the beef jerky marketing part of his portfolio, trying to wrestle that back from Stephen A. So there was a pregame handshake line.
Yeah.
Post-game, Richard Sherman said Baker refused to shake his hand.
Stiffed him, yeah.
And it was dripping with the inevitable, why did he not shake his hand?
Right.
You could tell there...
Trying to play a card, yeah.
The next step was coming, right? Well, why didn't Baker shake your hand? They have no college rivalry.
Right.
You could tell Sherman was ready to take the next step.
Yeah.
And then the video dropped.
Yeah. And then there's a video of Baker Mayfield shaking Richard Sherman's hand.
Absolutely shaking his
and
hand.
Richard Sherman totally just like turning away and stiffing him pretty much.
No, they shook, but Richard Sherman had his chin up, kind of looking down at him like, you little fucker.
Yeah, so he was the one being the asshole in the scenario.
Right.
So then he comes out and doesn't apologize, but says he's gonna apologize.
Well, he said he still felt disrespected.
Yeah.
But he will eventually apologize.
Yeah, but my Baker's response was great when he was like, this is the first time anything, on video has gone in my favor.
Has worked in my favor, yeah.
Great response.
I hate Baker because he's in my division, right? And I love watching the Browns get their ass beat. But I got to say, that guy should have a microphone in his face.
He's good at it.
He's fucking good on
the mic.
Very
good at it, yeah.
And I do give him props because at least he's honest.
Yeah.
He honestly will come out and say what's on his mind, which is really refreshing. This is just an odd move by Sherman.
Yeah.
Because you were talking, it was the dockage line, right? It's like, for a guy who's so dumb, every single person who talks about him prefaces their statement with, well, he is smart.
Well, he's a really smart guy.
But here's the dumbest fucking thing of all time.
But he only does, stupid shit. So, is he that smart? Yeah, he's probably book smart.
I mean,
you got a degree
what's
from
the
Stanford, but like
Right.
that doesn't. There's a big difference between book smart and then just being like worldly smart. You know?
Well, there's also this overly analytical, right? Like, oh, I can put this out there, and
Yeah.
what'll this do, and who will pick it up? You know, you can see him laying some kind of groundwork.
Right.
Like, this is like, what is his play? He got an interception in the game, right? So he's feeling high. He's like, I can somehow wrestle back some attention onto me.
Yeah.
Right? From his, the wreckage of the Legion of Boom.
And the 49ers have played 4 shit teams, so they're 4-0.
Yeah.
So they're feeling
They're high.
extra confident.
Big national TV spot.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, it's the Jussie Smollett mixed with Shaq.
Yeah.
Right? Because this was Shaq's ordeal. He did this with David Robinson. When he said David Robinson wouldn't shake his hand when he was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
He invented a whole backstory and myth to denigrade fucking David Robinson.
Yeah.
And then like 10 years after he retired, like, that's not true, I'm sorry. But Shaq's
Nothing I said was true.
he's like, Mr. Robinson was always really nice to me. I just, tried to go after his entire livelihood and image.
I was Shaq and a fool.
So that I could average an extra 4 points a game.
It was just me. I was just Shaq and a fool.
I was shocked. They had real beef, though.
I know.
And I think it was because this lie helped propagate. Robinson's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well,
But Shaq said he needed it for motivation.
Yeah.
This is Sherman saying it after the game. So I don't think
Right.
This feels like, because again, it's the Jussie Smollett thing where.
Smollett. He's
Smollett?
French now. I don't know.
Smollett?
Smollett.
I don't know. I
don't
don't know how
I don't know. I don't
anyone's
know.
name's pronounced,
Could be
right?
French.
I
I
hear,
don't know.
I read a name, I take a swing, bro. I don't know.
Smollett.
Smollett, right? I'm not around the kind of people that
Dave
were talking
Coulier.
about the kind of people that were really lit up about the Jussie Smollett story that
Yeah.
wanted to talk about it every day are not the kind of people that are allowed in Manor Casa de Griffey.
True.
Like, I'm not talking about these news stories with you ever, right? Like, if you're not here talking Jason Voorhees with me, you're out of my house, right? Film Alchemist plug. But yeah, so I just don't understand. What is his play?
Well, that's the thing. Like, what is the end game on that? Why even do that?
We know
Well,
what the
it's-
play is.
first
It
of
was
all-
dripping with, this is a guy being racist to me, right?
Yeah, it seems like that was
Okay.
the angle that was
That-
trying to be taken. Yeah.
We can tiptoe around it all we want.
Right.
That's what was coming next.
Yeah.
Sherman was going to put it out there as ambiguously as possible and hope that people ran with it. And Baker, honestly, is just like a cookie cutter villain.
Yeah.
Right? You've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
heard this attack against Baker.
Well, and he's an easy target right now too because they had all these expectations that they're not, they're going
Yeah.
under.
Yeah.
So like he's
And he-
already in the heat anyway,
Yeah.
just for like the shit.
And he always will dive headfirst in. Baker never is going to say,
Right.
well, we're disappointing. He's
you'll
like, fuck
get a
you, I'm
response
coming
from
back.
him.
Yeah.
So you know that'll escalate.
Right.
Yep.
But to know, because this is the question I have, right? Like, this is obviously where Sherman wanted to go with this. I mean, it's just the kind of climate we live in. This is the climate. We love it when we hear about
climate.
the climate, not the
In
one
this
we need
climate?
to, not the one we need to fix so my kids don't boil on the playground, right? The climate of not talking about things. But I just don't see the play, right? Because this is my question. Did he have this planned out? Did he not think that every single second in every single stadium, what happens on that turf is on camera?
That's the weirdest part.
Did he honestly think, did he get himself into such a lather
Yeah.
that he honestly believes Baker didn't do this?
Right.
Or is it more the insidious, he's just trying to stir the pot and bring some heat to his
It
name?
has to be pot stirring. Like that's
How could you not know that?
But that's the thing, like, if you're gonna make that story up, say it happened at a grocery store this summer,
right.
where maybe you can't, but not on a football field where there's 100 cameras broadcasting
Everywhere.
to every part of the world.
Well, especially 'cause
Like
it's
in this
the Thursday-
day and age,
Right.
It's gonna get seen. It's gonna get seen anywhere. Like you can't fucking walk down the street anymore.
Yeah.
And fucking take your pants down and take a piss like I like to do.
I used
It's
to
gonna
like
be-
to do.
It's gonna be on camera.
Until the goddamn government came and said, put your hog away. Stop peeing on
Can't be on city streets. Yeah.
It's like, what's the fucking
But
point
it
of
doesn't
paying
matter. Like
taxes if I
everywhere
can't
you
do
are
this?
is on film, especially on a football field and a nationally televised game.
Well, here's the extra
You
crazy
fucking
part.
idiot.
Because that's what I told you. I'm like, if his point, because this was thought out in advance to me.
Yeah.
He said, he knew, I'm going to say this, whether he thought about it right there in the handshake line, oh, this is a good opportunity. Right. He clearly had something on his mind about Baker for longer than this game. Had the moment. I don't know if he honestly is one of these such fucking delusional narcissists and thinks he's so much smarter than everyone else that he thought He somehow tricked his brain into thinking he got
it's that God
stiffed,
complex. Yeah.
Right? So maybe there's a part of that. But this is what I was telling you. If your whole point is to say Baker stiffed me for probably racist reasons, just say, oh, yeah, he, whispered under his breath a racial slur.
Right?
Because then it's like
easier to make true.
There's helmet stuff blocking the way.
Then it's he said, she said. It's not,
Because then you're like, but, I mean, that's even more insidious, right? That's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, but
at least this is the part I hate, is that it's a clearly preconceived plan.
I agree.
That is shockingly stupid in its conception.
Yeah.
And even worse in its execution.
Well, it's
a Jason Garrett level evil scheme.
It's like that thing when you're a kid, and like you think you're slick.
Yeah.
And your mom's like, eat your peas. And you just like dig a hole in them, but you don't, and you're like, I did eat them. And your parents are like, I can see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Also, they're like,
in your head, you're like, this is a good one. This is a good lie. I'll get him with this. And your parents like, you fucking idiot.
Parents have been doing this. We did the tricks you did. This is the worst thing that ever happened to me on this regard.
Thought up lie that you can do.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, when we were younger, right, we lived in a smaller kind of conservative town, right? So there was no trying to bang your girlfriend at the parents' house, right? Parents were always home after work.
Oh, yeah.
Not out drinking, right? Like there was no time where you were going to find like a bang window. So me and my girlfriend used to have to go park, right? My now wife.
Oh, yeah.
And it was parking, right? And we lived around cornfields. We were in the middle of fucking nowhere. So you'd always find like the tractor pull in.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd drive in just to where no one could see you from the road and then, hotbox the car, man. Get all hot and steamy in there.
Start banging.
We were pretty good kids. We were respectful. But yeah, it's like we need some time, man. So one night we pulled into this field.
Yeah.
And it's down this little trench, right? And I went, there's like a whole tree line. It's right by a river. It's very romantic in the moonlight. I was like, this is fucking baller as shit. Like, this is the new parking spot.
This is doing it for me.
Yeah, I pressed play on the old Hoobastank and we got to work, right? Well, next thing you know, I go to get out and my fucking car is lodged.
Oh, fuck.
Because it had just rained, I guess. And I'm not a farmer. I don't think of these things.
Yeah.
So my fucking huge Bonneville, it's an 89, so it just weighs like as much as a tank, has sunk into the field. So me and Amy are trying to rock this thing out. We're just blowing curfews. Yeah. We're like, this is going to be an ordeal. We finally get it out and get home. Well, the next day I come down and there's my father with his Diet Coke just waiting for me. I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. He's like a grand inquisitor, right? And he's like, what happened to your car last night? I was like, oh, man, I got it stuck in mud. He's like, how did that happen when you were driving directly home from the movies? And I was like, and so we just kind of looked at each other and I was like, you know what? I'm going all the way on this lie. And so eventually we got to this point where I was like, well, I was really tired. I went off the road. He's like, you went off the road driving and you think that's just like an okay? I was like, I went off the road. I wasn't proud of it, okay? So like I'm making up every line.
I'm trying to do better, Dad.
Yeah, and then my dad
learned it from you.
Where's the field on the path home from the movies? I'm like, it's one of the fields. Oh, we live around this field. My dad got so into it. He said, get in the car.
Take me to it.
He said, you're going to take me to the exact location and show me the trenches.
I got to see the
so
mud
me and
marks.
my dad are driving up and down every country road for over 30 minutes. I'm just going, I don't know. They all look the same. It was dark. Until finally I just go, fine, we were hooking up. What do you want? And he just goes, I knew it the whole time. And drove me home and I got punished. And I was like, what a stupid waste. We did this for like 3
Really trying to sell that one.
But
really
that's the level of operation Richard Sherman did. Is he's just like, I'm going to just go for it. I'm going to take on the, dad of the news.
It's like, well, so I wonder if he's like pompous enough, like, if I just say this, everyone will take it as gold.
Yeah.
No one will do their research. Bullshit.
Yeah, no one on Twitter.
That's all people do on the other. They're like, wait a minute. And they're just combing through game tape immediately as he says it.
Oh, dude. Everything that you've ever done or said, someone can't wait to prove you're a piece of shit or a liar.
Oh, yeah.
It's like every moment of our life has now become the Zapruder film.
Oh, God,
Like, that's all it is, man.
Yeah.
We're always for me, Richard Sherman, was it worth the beef jerky money? Was it? Was it worth the beef jerky money? The thing that I hate most is I don't think he's going to face any consequences for this.
No, it's already kind of brushed under. Like, oh, that was silly.
What a wacky guy trying to tar Baker Mayfield as a racist. What wacky shenanigans coming out of old San Fran.
What a wacko.
Yeah, what a douche,
Anyway.
man. What a fucking douche.
Speaking of Shaq,
Shaq's a fool.
Have you listened to any of the diss tracks him and Damian Lillard have been
oh my God,
going back and forth on?
Are you Dollar Dame or are you Shaq Fu?
I'm still on Shaq for the nostalgia.
Right.
But Dame's coming a little harder.
Dude, when he dropped that line, he said something about the only time we see you is in the playoffs. and every time we see you, you choke, right? It was some kind of line like that. I was like, dude! I was like, Shaq's going to his one insult, which is, where your ring's at. That's the only, like, if you watch the clips from their TNT show.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing is Barkley calls him a loser because Kobe and Dwayne carried him.
Yeah.
And Shaq just goes, you can't talk. You never won a finals. And they argue about this ad nauseum.
Shaq and a fool.
Every fucking broadcast. So I knew Shaq's diss track would be ring-centric. Right?
Well, I owned 2 Shaquille O'Neal albums.
Oh, dude, those were fire.
In the 90s. It was...
this was before we knew a lot about him.
There was like one song like, what's up, Doc? Can we rock?
Yeah.
It was like, they were terrible. And one he was like, I lean on the Statue of Liberty when I get tired.
Yeah.
Like all this shit. The Master of Disaster, 7'3".
7'3".
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm going
like,
to add an extra 2 inches. Yeah. I'm going to Richard Sherman
I had
my
that.
height.
It was like Shaq Fu to return.
Oh, Shaq Fu was a legit game.
Yeah.
It was funny because it was Shaq and then there was
remember
like
what the
a
albums were
werewolf
called.
lady.
Yeah.
Like there were all these fantasy warriors and I'm like, you're just a guy in basketball shoes.
They really wanted him to be like a big time Hollywood star. They were putting him in shit movies. He was dropping albums.
I'll tell you this though, on our other podcast, the Long Box Sessions, we watched Steel.
Oh yeah.
And we did a talk along. It's actually a shockingly entertaining movie. Like it is a wildly insane movie.
Where are you going with that? I'm a superhero.
I'm the real Superman. I feel like Dame's more in his prime. He's more attuned, so his tracks are going to be more polished.
Yeah.
But Shaq's kind of bringing that old school.
Well, Shaq's the
old
50-year-old
school
rapper.
Biggie Tupac thing.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm Team Shaq.
Yeah, I mean, I took Eminem in the Machine Gun Kelly battle. You know, I'm taking the old guys.
You're a real front runner.
I'm taking the old guys. Yeah.
Machine Gun Kelly. That was just the saddest war. The only way Machine Gun Kelly could have won that is if he had actually dicked Eminem's daughter.
Yeah.
That's the only way you
if
actually
you
win.
dicked her down,
if you do that, all rapping, because Machine Gun Kelly's barely a musician, right? He's starting to have some acting roles. He's not bad in the 2 movies I've seen him in.
Yeah.
But he's barely a musician. Like, let's not be coy.
He's not very good.
I mean, yeah. Come on, guys.
Really not. He's terrible.
Yeah. What happens if those horny goat weed packets at the gas station became a real boy and could rap? That's what Machine Gun Kelly is.
Every other word in his lyrics is
So, I mean, I give him props. You know, take your shot. If you're gonna beef with someone, beef up. Yeah. That's always a rule. Don't
just trying to get
down.
famous. I get it.
Yeah. But if you seal the deal with him,
I mean, we fired shots at Karl Malone trying to come up.
All I'll say is that bitch ass
got buried.
That bitch ass Karl Malone, that little fucking raper, he never got back to us. So I think we win.
Yeah.
I think we win.
Speaking of Shaq,
Karl Malone rapist, Google it.
Oh yeah, big time. Really, and like appallingly.
Yeah.
Bad.
We are the Hannibal Buress to his Bill Cosby.
That's actually not a conspiracy. It's just truth.
I know we're conspiracy guys, so we might have painted ourselves. We're the little boy that crawled and cried conspiracy.
Speaking of Shaq again, one take I'm really looking forward to is what he's got to say about China. We got a debacle on our hands with this one.
First off, let's preface. I don't think you or I are nearly smart enough or worldly enough to understand any of the geography and geopolitics of China.
No.
Right? So that's not where we're coming from. So don't fucking give us your fucking Wikipedias and whatever. No. We don't know. Honestly,
I couldn't even tell you for sure what Hong Kong is protesting. I know, like,
they want freedom.
I know the gist of it. Yeah, I know, but, like, I don't know, like, the specific details that brought that on.
No, I've been reading about it.
I get the general gist of it, but that's it.
Well, we're just like everyone else. Like, now that this story's broken,
so this comes from a place of ignorance.
Yeah,
for sure.
Let's be 100% honest, that is the tagline for our entire channel.
Yes, correct.
Everything we do comes from a place of ignorance, first off.
Ignorance.
But this feels insane. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because not only, I mean, it's the weird, like, we're going to have Shaq and Barkley discussing global politics and maybe.
I can't wait.
Well, ESPN's new rule is they're just cutting people off. Like, they cut Stephen A. Smith
short. They're cutting heads off real quick.
Well, Stephen A. Smith just threw out an Israel-Palestine insight, and you're just like, I'm with ESPN. That was good. There's no way anything good.
Anytime ESPN pulls the plug on Stephen A., I'm for it.
Yeah.
I don't even care that guy is the biggest piece of shit.
Well, I was like, what's the
talking head I've ever heard?
What's the geopolitical equivalent of I tell my daughters not to deserve rape? Remember that old Stephen A. Chestnut when he was defending Mayweather? I tell my daughters not to ask for it. And I'm like, I think you're a bad father. I think you're a bad dude. So I'm with them on that, but I mean, we have the president taking shots at NBA coaches.
Oh,
So
yeah.
essentially what kicked this off, right, is Daryl Morey, the Houston Rockets were in China.
GM, yeah.
And he said he stood with the protesters and he, is for free speech, essentially. I think is the gist of it. I don't have the actual tweet in front
Pretty
of me.
harmless tweet. Like, I'm for freedom.
Seems like the most American
It really is.
It's just the American boilerplate statement is like, we want more freedom everywhere on earth, right? That's kind of why we have military bases everywhere, is because we're going to blow you to hell for freedom, right? That's that's our whole thing. It's kind of like Rocky's like, I just like punching beef. Like, we get it. It's your brand.
It's fun. Yeah, I get it.
This started like a whole shitstorm.
Oh, a big time. Yeah.
And the fallout is massive here.
It's giant. Well, first of all, he sends that tweet, which is basically just standing up for freedom, the core values that Americans believe in.
But also not standing up, because Daryl Morey has no pull.
No, but just saying he's got like their back, like he's with them, in a sense.
Right.
And the NBA came out and just did not have his back at all.
Oh, no.
Not at all. They just were like, why in the fuck would you say that?
Well, they Cersei Lannistered him. They, ripped his clothes off and beat his ass all the way down the street.
Why would you be pro-freedom, you asshole?
Yeah, why would you say something you believe? But this is the weird thing, too, I think, that we didn't realize in doing some of my research. The Houston Rockets in China are essentially like the Yankees.
Oh, yeah, they're big.
Cowboys.
Well, they had Yao Ming for a long time, which was a big deal.
All wrapped up. I mean, they are this bigger than life kind of entity in China, but because of Yao, right?
But it's like you said, can we admit that Yao Ming's not a Hall of Fame?
If China's kicking the NBA out, we're kicking Yao Ming out of the Hall of Fame. Like, are we kidding?
Because come on,
are we just going to start giving out potential Hall of Fame spots?
That's a participation trophy if I've ever seen.
Yeah, Yao.
He was good
when he was
for
healthy,
the 3 years that he played.
He was really good. Yeah. But I mean, how many guys could you say that for?
But essentially, China they've pulled all the sponsorships have been pulled.
They could make it to where no NBA game is
a big
seen
market
in China because they also have control over internet.
But the NBA is basically saying they're going after that money. They're like, we want that money. I get it. It's a business.
It could be billions of dollars.
But they're doing it at the cost of billions of people's freedom.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The NBA
for a communist country.
This is the hard part, though, right? So we're going up against this authoritarian, government, right? Like, we control information, what you can say.
Right.
It's the most un-American setup you could imagine.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the NBA is in a weird spot where they sell a product there.
Right.
Right? And that is an enormous market.
Right.
Even Hollywood is shifting because their movies... Making money over there
a huge market,
is just as important as here. I think it was 2 years ago was the first time that international box office surpassed Hollywood box office.
Right.
Like, it's just changing, right? So you got to get that money. And this is the hard part for the NBA is the NBA and their players in any position to help this cause out?
Yeah.
Like, if LeBron and Harden and Curry and Durant marched with those protesters.
Yeah, are they going to make a We Are the World track again or something?
But that's what I mean. Like, is there anything the NBA can even do? So it's a bitch ass move to say we, an American company, and probably everyone would say, right? Like, everyone who's born in America, we all fight and argue about everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? We all hate each other. We're all the worst. We all think the other side's dubious criminals.
Right.
The one thing we all agree on is freedom.
Sure.
You should be free to say whatever you want. You should be free to think. You should be free to, move about your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the most important value that we
couldn't agree more.
Believe on, right?
Couldn't agree more. Yep.
And for the NBA to then say, but fuck those people because we want jersey money is a bitch move.
It is.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's business, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to help the cause, right?
Well, yeah. They got money to make. That's the bottom line. I saw a tweet. It was one of the better tweets, but it was like, so one NBA executive tweets this out, and look what this Chinese government has done in retaliation to that one little tweet from one guy that's, in the big scheme of things, fairly meaningless. Yeah. Imagine what they're doing to their own citizens if they're making that big of a deal.
I mean,
over a fucking tweet. You know what I mean? It's like, and then ask yourself how much that money is actually worth to you if they're fucking with this history of like terrible treatment of their own citizens and all that shit.
I mean, they're jailing. I mean, this has been going on.
And it was like, not to get too serious, but like that was like a pretty profound thought to have. It was like, fuck.
It is, but this is something we're coming from a place of fairly
ignorant. Yeah,
I mean, I keep up with the news and politics as best I can, but Chinese news and like I can barely keep track with our own fucking shit show.
Right.
But it is one of those things I think as American citizens, we have such a hard time wrapping our mind around.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't watch South Park if I'm in China. Like they can just shut down your fucking internet. They can erase your profile from the internet.
Whatever they want to do. You're at their will at all times.
Like if you send out, like imagine I sent a tweet once to President Trump and I just said, "You're such a baby dick." That's it. If I did that in China, like
you'd be dead.
You could be just disappeared.
You'd be dead. Yeah.
Right? In our country, you can disagree with the most powerful man in your country.
Yeah.
And that's your fucking right, dude.
Right.
And that's the beauty of our country, right? You're supposed to be able to say anything you want to anyone, right? Not threatening or murderous, but you want to call someone a bitch, you can call them a bitch. You know what I mean? And I think we just can't even imagine the world of like that tweet is an interesting because you have to stop and think like, oh fuck, man, I can't even fathom what's that's like day to day.
Well, yeah.
Imagine walking down the street having like conversations at a bar and just being like, oh, I better be careful what I say.
Oh yeah.
And we bitch about cancel culture here. This is like we'll cancel you, period.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, like this week, like my biggest problem in life was we got basically shadow banned on that video.
Yeah, YouTube demonetized.
You know what I mean? And there's like,
video.
We're getting censored and like,
yeah.
Okay, but like nobody showed up in black cars to our house and like dragged us out.
No.
And took us away from our. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
like,
talking about
that's fucking white people problems.
Thousands
what we've
of dollars.
got versus, yeah,
a couple $1,000 at stake.
The South Park thing is my favorite thing to come out of the China debacle. Great. So they go and make the episode and they basically call they say the president of China looks like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, well, John Oliver did this last year.
Right.
He started this big
They just
thing.
continued that joke or whatever.
Yeah.
And he got all butthurt and he like banned South Park. And Comedy Central got all in a tussle because they're like, oh, we got to have that market. So Trey and Matt come out with an apology. And they're like, we're sorry, China. We too value money over freedom and democracy.
Right.
And like and they're like, be sure to tune into our 300th episode.
Yeah.
Like totally just fucking flipped them off. And that's why I love those guys.
It's such an insane world that so often the South Park guys are kind of at the forefront of being right.
But at this point, they're like, what are you going to do? Cancel us?
Yeah,
fine. We have 23 years worth of royalties.
We got that book of Mormon money. Like, we're cool, dude.
23 years worth of royalties coming our way. Fine. We're fine.
Orgasmo's coming up on an anniversary.
They have fuck you money.
Yeah. I mean, it is the weird thing, man. We think about the, like, you know, like I've talked about on the show, I'm diabetic. You think about all the time, like the way these companies are like, oh, our job is to make a product that helps you. But then in the boardrooms, the CEOs are like, that's not our job. Our job's to fucking grease you for money, dude.
Right.
And if you die, fuck off.
Right.
And it is that, where do you value, like, when does ethics come into a business? Like, this is what I read, is that the NBA's nightmare scenario, because now you see the coaches are afraid to talk about it. They're asking, like, to ask Russell Westbrook about Chinese politics, that's so unfair.
It's so stupid.
You're just baiting him into like a Richard Sherman, please come fuck yourself comment.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
It's like that Chappelle skit bit he used to do back in the day. He's like, you know what I don't get? Like, because I think it was like after 9/11 and like MTV was covering it, but they were like calling and getting sound bites from like Ja Rule, like, give us your thoughts on it. And Dave Chappelle was like, you know, like, I've never had like a big event happen in my life and be like, somebody get Ja Rule on the phone. I need to make sense of this. Like, I gotta make sense.
How am I gonna pick?
Why are we asking these guys? Like, why is Russell Westbrook's? That's not a knock on Russell Westbrook, but like, why make him fucking comment on it?
What is Russell Westbrook's job? Right? He's a fashionista.
It's like asking us on it. We're spewing our opinion on it.
Yeah.
It's not fucking relevant. It's an opinion.
What do? We make YouTube comedy videos and podcasts.
We're only talking about it because it's a
No one
podcast.
calls
It's a
us.
hot issue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting anybody to walk away from this and be like, Nick was right.
Yeah. I mean, I think we are. I think we are.
Yeah.
We're already banned in some YouTube's corners, so fuck China too, I think. But
give me some high-ranking government officials. I'll listen to their sound bites.
yeah.
Some high-ranking CEOs. I'll listen to their sound bites.
By the way,
They're in the shit of it. They're in the scrum of it. You know
the
what I mean?
best soundbite about this whole thing was President Trump just taking shots at NBA coaches.
He went right after Steve Kerr.
The fact that, again, in the midst of everything that's happening in our world and politics, right? The fact that the president just has time to do, like, tweets on the shitter where he's like, oh, I'm going to fucking crush Steve Kerr.
It's hilarious.
I do like that he has the, like, list of people that have offended him. And I'll give Trump credit on this, right?
Like,
not my favorite guy, but he never misses.
Oh yeah.
Like if you come at him, there is 150% chance you're gonna get dunked on eventually. And his comment on Steve Kerr fucking cracked me.
Oh yeah,
up.
it was great. He's like Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison. He's that guy who's got the list of people on his wall.
Ivanka's putting lipstick on him, and he's
slowly marking him off.
I'll get him, babe. I'm gonna get him, baby. And Ivanka's like, yeah, call me babe. No, that's too weird. We're not going there. But no, because he came out and Steve Kerr did that. The smart thing, right? The thing that we could probably even be doing, which is, you know what? I'm going to learn more about this before I wade in and say something.
Right.
Because he has a platform and people listen. Well, Trump was like, "Oh, I got you now, bitch." He saw that as an alley-oop, and he's like,
and Kerr's been pretty outspoken in opposition of
not even in opposition of him, but he came out. He was, we won't go to the White House guy.
Right.
He's pro Kaepernick. Right.
So he's put himself in the position.
Right.
To be, yeah.
When everyone did the thing with LeBron, like shut up and dribble, he was which by the way, that was stupid. You should be anti that, right? People can have opinions on politics.
Absolutely.
So Kerr's always been there, but on this one, it is a weird move, right? But you get the feeling NBA teams have already had this meeting, like, don't you fucking dare.
Oh yeah, they're telling people to shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
yep. All day.
But he came out and he was like, Steve Kerr loves talking bad about America. But, he got asked about China. Scared little boy. He called Steve Kerr a scared little boy.
Very sad.
Very sad, scared little boy. And then Popovich, he's like, Popovich, too, also hates America. Not as scared.
Less scared, though.
Yeah, less scared.
It's a great soundbite.
It's just so fucking fun. But we were talking about it last night. We were reading the tweets and just laughing our ass off.
Losing it.
Because you're like, what is happening in 2019?
Well, yeah,
that we just have the president of the United States calling an NBA coach a scared little
Well, that's the thing. That's why we don't talk about politics and shit.
Yeah.
Because I just don't take it that seriously. Like, it's not.
It might be the great gift of this era is that we all need to learn, like, hey, man,
I just watch it all and I laugh. I don't really give, because they're all a shit show.
It's gotten
absurd. It's a shit show of the entire fucking board. It's fun. It's fun to just laugh at. I don't need to fucking get an argument about it because I don't care about it that much.
That tweet was gold, man. That's like a pen tweet to me. That's a classic.
Right. It was
scared. It was little
beautiful.
Boy.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I don't even know if he said it on tweet or if it was at a conference, but I read it in tweet form and it was fucking funny. I think
he said it.
It was fucking funny. But I don't know. Is the NBA? How much of their revenue do you think China represents? I would venture half plus.
It's gotta be a big chunk.
Oh my god.
That's a market with what, 6 billion people?
Yeah. And no, not. We have what, 7 billion total?
Yeah, I don't.
Let me see.
China's got a lot of people.
Yeah,
but they've got to be. That market share has got to be huge. Because the NBA is huge. They've been playing preseason games over there for a long time.
Woo! 7.7 total.
Yeah, I knew it was a big number.
That's total. That's the entire world.
Oh, that's the world. I'm pretty sure
China is 1.3.
So a billion people. Yeah, 1.3 billion people.
Jesus Christ,
that's like,
man.
That's 4 times the U.S. at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's, I don't know what the markets look like how spread out that is. But
yeah, but they're getting that's a lot of. So I get it that they're trying to protect that investment because if you had a business. And half of your legs,
they're
half
like
of your
15% of the global population.
Yeah, half of your legs were getting chopped off because one of your employees said something.
Yeah,
whether he's right or wrong, you're still going to try to protect that asset.
But this is the thing: can the NBA have it both ways? Right? Can they?
Well, that's the conundrum here because what he said was morally right.
It's morally
right, and it just pissed off a morally corrupt country.
Yeah.
That happens to be 50% of your market share. So it's a pretty unique dilemma to be in.
But this is what I read too in conjunction with like the whole Trump attacking them now and this and that. The NBA's terrified that they're going to get protesters at games.
Yeah.
Right? That this is going to turn into an entire fucking thing. And this is what we were saying too. The NBA is hard because they're the one sport where all of their players are instantly recognizable.
Oh, absolutely.
Football players have the helmets. Baseball players don't have enough of an audience.
They don't market. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
the NBA is. They just throw everything at you.
Brands.
They're huge.
They're brands.
Yep.
This is going to be a fucking shit show.
It's going to be fun to watch.
I would like to see the world where the NBA has the fucking balls to be on the right side of something.
Yeah.
But
that's a big fucking. Yeah. That's a big stance to take for them.
It's a big stance
because they have a lot at stake as well.
I get why they won't.
I do too.
It feels like the business.
I don't agree with why they won't, but I understand. That's the reality of the world.
But it's like, do you sink your ship on a cause that you're not really going to help out, just to be right? I mean, it'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
But, also you don't want the NBA to fucking just like collapse under the weight of this. It's going to be fucking crazy. I can't even believe that this is happening. Like, what an insane fucking thing.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And
Jesus Christ.
and the awesome thing for us is like we're gonna get awesome sound bites all year from guys like Shaq and Charles, and they're gonna shove microphones into these guys' faces.
Yeah. Well, Stephen A. Smith, he was all fucking hot under the collar. He was ready to just start dropping politics bombs. Unbelievable.
Stephen A. will yell about anything, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Even he knows a little bit about basketball, and
bit.
nothing else. Like, have you ever heard that dude talk about football or baseball?
Oh my god, dude! His baseball takes are unbelievable.
His football is the worst too.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. He doesn't know anything about it.
He's like
and he
Carlos
still yells
Garcia,
and screams like he's the authority on it. And it's like, go back and listen to that and Snopes yourself, fact check yourself, because nothing. At least when he talks about basketball, he knows his shit.
You can tell he loves basketball.
His opinions are stupid sometimes, but he knows his shit.
I'm fine with stupid takes as long as it's coming from a place
of knowledge.
If you thought it out, that's fine, right? Because we can all think things out.
But they make him talk about
place.
football and baseball, and he doesn't know anything about it.
The biggest saving grace to him is that Kellerman is the guy who's like, I am going to get more information to get the dumbest take. Like, if he wasn't beside Kellerman, like...
I used to like Kellerman a lot, but yeah.
I like Kellerman as a guy. He seems like a good guy. He's one of those, too, though. He's a guy who knows everything about boxing, but there's not a lot of value in that. So now he talks other sports.
Yeah.
And he always tries to be too clever and just ends up sounding like a rube.
Yeah.
He overthinks the room.
I agree.
We do have one more huge story we got to get to.
Which one's that?
Clayton Kershaw.
Oh.
If you guys watch the live stream, you know I am a Kershaw defender, even though I don't care for the Dodgers or Dodger fans that much. This honestly broke my heart watching Clayton Kershaw. He comes in, he gets him out of the inning. He's like raging, like, ah. They send him back out again. Mm-hmm. He gives up back-to-back dingers to lose the 3-1 lead.
Yep.
They go on in an extra innings. Howie Kendrick crushes a grand slam, and the Dodgers fucking flub again in the postseason, which they have done often throughout the Kershaw era. Yep. What I hate about it is that they keep showing that fucking picture of Kershaw on the bench just looking completely devastated.
Yeah.
And he's such a good guy. He comes out, he's like, it's me, I fucked up, I didn't win. It's crushing his legacy because the Dodgers constantly ask so much of this guy. They have abused him so often. And this is what you said. The stats are in. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't go short rest starter as a reliever. Don't fucking do it.
It almost never works.
Why do we still do this? And why do players like Kershaw not tell them to suck it?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I mean, he's making like $300 million, so I don't know.
Right, but
I think he's at the whim of like, you got to listen to your boss when you're getting paid that much.
But this gets back to the weird thing, like especially baseball. We have so much data, right? And that's why I say baseball is probably the easiest sport to coach at this point, because every single matchup, batter, anything you want, you can get a fucking binder this big of data.
Yeah.
That will point you in the statistically best thing to do.
Right.
And that might not always work, but more often than not, you'll probably be proven right.
Right.
This gets back to, I think there's this weird thing with coaches, especially player coaches like Robertson, right?
Roberts,
where he's, I played the game. So they do this, I'm going to show that I have extra value.
Right.
Past analytics.
But that's kind of old hat because every coach now played.
Yeah, that's true.
There's like almost no coaches anymore.
That's true.
There's very few. Football has more than anybody that were like not players, but baseball, every manager was a player.
But I hate the fucking hunch thing. You know,
well,
there's this thing they get obsessed with, and it's to me it's like Michael Jordan syndrome.
Right,
is let your best player go out and fucking dominate.
Right.
Baseball is not basketball, and especially pitching is not.
Yeah.
The same thing. It's just the numbers are in. If you say get 2 days rest and then come out and throw 60 pitches.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers are in. The return is so fucking low, and this has happened to Kershaw more than once.
Right.
Oh, that bummed me the fuck out.
Well, it's like, you're asking, the pizza delivery guy to fix the car. Right. Like, well, he drives a car a lot, so he must know how to fix it. Like, no, dude, it's two separate jobs.
You're asking us to dissect
the
Chinese
reliever,
politics.
You're asking a guy to go in and pitch in a situation that he never pitches
Right.
in a high stress area
Right.
that he's not used to coming into.
Right.
It's stupid.
And also at this point, Kershaw has to have PTSD from all the times you've done this to him.
It's stupid. It's like you said. It's the stupid hunch thing. Like,
Yeah.
But you've got these bullpen guys. You won 106 games doing something one way.
Right.
And then when it comes down to it, you're like, you know what? Time to switch it up. Like, it's the fucking dumbest mindset in the history of the motherfucking world to me.
Right.
Like, why would you do that? You've got these relievers that got you there all day.
Right.
If it comes down, like, you're not going to do that any other place. You're not going to, in the 7th inning, you're not going to be like, you know what? I'm going to bring my closer in to hit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I just got a hunch.
Jock Peterson got a home run the inning before. Maybe he can get me 3 straight
You know
Ks.
what?
Yeah.
Bellinger's had a pretty good year. Let's see if he can throw an inning. We're up 3-1. You know, like, it's the same. It's so stupid.
It's the thing I hate the most, and you would be immediately fired from my coaching staff if you're the guy who's like, I had a feeling, and I went all in. It's like, all right, well, what's your information set?
Right.
Right? And if your information set is just, Clayton Kershaw's our best pitcher,
right,
and I want him in this scenario,
right,
you would be fired because I can show you other short rest Clayton Kershaw starts and reliever appearances that didn't go well.
Yeah.
And what I hate is that he honestly, over the span of his career, has been one of the most phenomenal pitchers that I've ever witnessed in my life. Like, his stuff was so nasty.
Yeah.
He was so dominant.
Yeah.
But that's not how we'll remember him. It's this unfair fucking knock that he's a postseason choke artist.
But he is, though.
But in his normal starts, he's not.
Not really. He
If
hasn't
you look
been
at
very
his
good in
normal
his starts.
He's pretty. Almost all of the really bad things came when they pitched him 1 inning too long. Right, the information was in after the 5th inning, diminished returns.
Well, yeah, but
and
that's
on short rest.
Yeah, but if you're paying a guy $300 million, he's got to be able to go at least 6.
I mean, that's not the league we play in anymore. From 5 on is reliever.
That's where I
territory
disagree.
now.
I agree with you on the other night.
What I'm saying is that the league we have now, you know how it is. If you get to the 4th or 5th inning, now we're doing 1 inning relievers and matchups. That's just the way the league is built. And these guys train, and like you said, they spend all season in that system.
Yeah.
To then say now, and some guys can just get it done, right?
Yeah.
And Kershaw's gone longer innings and been all right.
For sure.
To just know that you're putting this guy out there to fucking fail.
Oh, yeah.
And the emotional trauma that he carries, so that he had to know when he was walking out in the set. I think that's why he was screaming when he got out of it. Is because he's like, oh, the bad thing's not happening to me. And then Jason still rose from the grave and got him. It's just fucking not fair to one of your best players to do that to
he'll
their
still
legacy.
go down as one of the best pitchers of this generation, like
For sure.
as a tops.
I mean, I think
up
he's
there with like the
already a Hall of
Verlanders and all
Famer.
those. Yeah.
I mean, but it's just.
But he's
it's
always going to
fucking
have
bummer.
that cloud, that stigma hanging
Yeah.
over him. But you know what?
I just hate the coach.
Pitch
it's
better,
like,
dude.
Yeah, I hate the coach. It's like, my cup is full of my own nuts and ego. Like, I'm going to make you go out and fucking hurt yourself.
Yeah,
I hate it. I felt bad for Kershaw, man.
When you look at the numbers and you just blatantly ignore them, and that's you're an idiot.
Especially baseball, you have so many games.
It's like the football coaches that like there's overwhelming stats that you never go for 2 unless you absolutely have to. Unless it's like the last play of the game and you're down by 2.
Right.
If you're down by like 15 in the 3rd quarter, 2nd quarter, you're like, I'm gonna go for 2,
Right.
so that the next time we'll tie it up.
Yeah.
That almost always comes back to bite you. Like the stats
Always.
are overwhelming, but coaches still fucking do it.
Well, no, because there's that one high school team on Real Sports, and they're like, we never punt. We always go for 2. You're like, that's high school.
Yeah.
That's not even the same game.
Same thing in football with icing the kicker.
Yeah.
The stats are almost overwhelming against that. Don't call the timeout right before he kicks, because all you're doing is giving him a chance to line it up, get a free kick in.
Yeah, a lot of times
see
they
what
get the kick.
see what the wind is doing to the ball, and almost always that dude will come back and make it every time. Almost always.
What I love about
but
the
coaches
icing
still
the kick-
fucking do it because
Right.
they have egos that are too big, and they're
Hunch.
like, yeah, this stupid fucking hunch.
But that's what it is. I feel like most pro sports, right, with all the coaching staff and this and that, it's kind of an autopilot thing at this point. Your work is done by the time the game starts, mostly.
Pretty much.
Right? And then I think they just have to find this way to inject themselves more into the narrative.
Right. I mean, they still have to
Icing the
adjust
kicker
to
is the
game
prime-
situations
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah.
But like, you've done your homework before. Like, if you haven't figured out what Mahomes plays they're going to run before the game, like, you're not doing that on the fly. But what I like, icing the kicker is a great example because, again, it's a low information decision to give your opponent extra information. It's probably the perfect encapsulation of what I hate about this.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Poor Clayton, man. We feel for you, dude.
I don't feel that bad.
I don't give a fuck about the Dodgers, but I do feel bad for great players that are abused by their teams.
All right. Hey, guys, we got to get out of here. Apple Podcasts, rate, review. Get on there. At Coach Kent Murphy, all social medias. Get on there and follow us. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.